Hi, my name is Mariona and today we are going to talk about Alvin Ali. Alvin Ali was born in 1931 and he was an African American dancer and choreographer who founded the Alvin Ali American Dance Theatre in New York. Alvin is internationally renowned for the contribution in modern dance, but also for the revolutionary way of projecting the Afro-American culture into his choreographic work. The first thing I wanted to introduce is the focus of this work. This piece of work, it's all about understanding Revelations. Revelations was Alvin's main piece of work, I would say. It was one of his first choreography work, and to me, Revelations, it's a projection of Alvin's personal life, but also it's a reflection of the historical context that was surrounding Alvin Ali at that point. So when it says understanding Revelation, it's because that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to break down all the different elements that to me affected the creative process of this piece of work, Revelations. This presentation will be more about how I have researched and supported my work to understand Revelations rather than the findings about this piece of work, which will be in my written work. But yes, we're gonna start by talking about all of the different factors that I believe are seen, and they're very easily perceived in their choreography work, especially in Revelation. So to me, the first resource that I used to kind of like give me a bigger picture of the different dance influences and how modern dance was created. To me, this book, Ballet and Modern Dance by Susan I think, was key. Especially because my knowledge of dance history was quite poor. So trying to have a bigger picture of when modern dance was born, who were the founders, was key. And I believe this book it's brilliant. It provides so much detail of every single artist's work. So yeah, that was really good for me to kind of like locate exactly where Alvin's work appeared and what were all of the different influences that were surrounding him, especially again James Horton and Catherine Duncan. But it was very good for me to understand that Alvin Ali was actually the second generation of modern dance. So he was kind of like the result, or he was educated with the founders of the true modern dance, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say this was for me the main source use. So, Meaning in Motion, this book, it has a completely different approach. Meaning in Motion, it's more about understanding how the movement in history has been kind of like used to express meaning. But it also talks about how Alvin was one of the choreographers at that point in the 60s that did not deny the importance of movement, dance, as a way to communicate. That would be in opposition with Yvonne Rainer, for example. So this book was good for me to just see another type of approach, which is more focused on pure movement. It has a big presence in the whole Alvin Ali company and heritage. So I actually used Alvin Ali's website because to me that would make me understand even better how Alvin understands their style of work and the different classes that they have on in their company still nowadays. So the biography about Lester Norton is from Alvin Ali's website, But then I also wanted to understand elements of the dance technique, which would help me then look at revelations and identify all of these elements. So I did use mostly the article Dance Spirit, which is also referenced in Alvin Ali's website as a main reference to understand the different elements of the technique. So that's the article I used, and I watched as well some videos, but mostly the written article. So for Martha Graham, it was actually a similar research to what I did. So in this case, the biography and his personal life and career path was taken from Martha Graham's official website. It's her company, and I believe that would be, a good resource to use because it's created by the same company as Martha Graham. So who better than them to explain actually what, who Martha Graham was and how important was her work to inspire endless generations of dancers. So that was to me, to give me some more information about her life and her thoughts, the way she thought, her approaches to dance. But then as well, in a more like technical level, I watched a video, which is actually a video that you can find in their website or in YouTube. And it's from Martha Graham Dance Company directly. And they have this video which shows all of the basic elements of Martha Graham technique. And it's very useful to see how the contraction and release of movement to make everything flow works in Martha Graham's. So that was useful for me to see what her technique is based on, and then I could understand as well how Alvin used that, because we need to bear in mind that after Alvin went to Orton's Academy, he then moved to New York and trained with Martha Graham. Finally, Catherine Dunham, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So I followed a very similar approach. The main information about her contribution to the dance industry, it's from the official website. And then Dunham's technique, it's actually taken about the same magazine. So Dance Spirit has a full article describing as well different visual elements of Catherine Dunham's technique that you can see from his Caribbean but also African dances that she mixed together to create and embrace the African American culture. I believe this is very relevant, especially in the second section of Revelations, where Dunham's style, it's quite visible in Alvin's work started. So this article actually takes from the moment where Alvin started he was in New York, and he started to get a few group of people when he realized that the options for African American dancers were very limited in the dance industry. So he started with a group of a few African American dancers doing some work, and then the declaration came up. And it's when, the company could start flourishing. It also explained how much the company was struggling. So even though legally, Black people were allowed to go to other schools and that train in dance, even though it was legal, this article gives you a very good overview of how difficult it actually was for the company to survive after. So in terms of knowing more about Alvin's life, so I basically used two sources. The first one is an article in biography.com. Then I compared with Suzanne van. So this is actually curious, but it is a program of the Virginia Arts Festival, and it does give you loads of information about Alvin Ali, who he was, what was modern dance, what was Alvin's All American theater, theater company. It also talks about Revelations. And because this is a program from like a cultural arts festival, I thought that would be very relevant. It actually helped me a lot as well to contrast information with other sources and understand a bit more of Alvin's personal life. So finally, to analyze Revelations, I used online resources, especially like videos on YouTube, to see the different sections, so I could detect, analyze all of these different elements we were talking about. So I mostly focused on only the first 3 sections of the piece of work. Revelations, it's a long choreography, and I think just using the first 3 sections, it was clear to me that I could already identify loads of the different elements that we talked about. And then finally, I found this resource from Alvin Ali's American Dance Theater, which is a program of the choreography, and I thought that would, just be very useful for me to understand how the company itself presents the choreography and what they say it represents in all the different sections, even though I'm just focusing on the first 3 sections. And so this program just talks about the different choreographers, the dancers, the music used, the composers, and it also talks about the meaning of each section, which I thought it was very interesting, the way they want their work to be seen.